Chapter 1, and this is a quote from Albert Einstein, who said that the greatest mathematical discovery of all time is compound interest. In this chapter, we'll learn why he said that. Now, the title of this chapter is Easy Money, Financial Freedom on $1 a Day, and I'll show you exactly what that means. You see, it all starts with a single unit of money. In the United States, Canada, and Australia, Hong Kong, and New Zealand, it's the dollar. In Great Britain, it's the pound. In France and Switzerland, it's the franc. In Germany, it's the mark. In Japan, the yen. Wherever you are, reach into your wallet or purse and dig out some of your own paper currency and examine it. Rub it between your fingers. Feel the texture. Bring it to your nose. Does money smell? Examine the images. Notice the serial numbers. Turn it over. Notice the strange symbols. What do they mean? Imagine that you're looking at it through a microscope. Read every single word. This simple piece of paper doesn't appear to be worth much. Inflation erodes its value daily. So what if you waste it, or lose it, or throw it away? But wait a minute, can this ordinary piece of paper money be worth more than meets the eye? Could it be a magic ticket to a more abundant life of anywhere, anytime, anything you want? One thing's sure, how people feel about these silly pieces of paper makes a huge difference in how they enjoy life's great banquet of prosperity. When you finish listening to this chapter, I promise that you'll never think of money in the same way again, ever. You see, prosperous people don't think of money just as color pieces of paper adorned with pictures of famous dead people. They imagine it as seeds, money seeds, with the power to grow into money trees, bearing fruit to fulfill every one of their dreams. And they are absolutely right. Every dollar bill is a money seed. Just as a tiny acorn contains the power to grow into a mighty oak tree, each dollar bill has the power to grow into a mighty money tree. You can grow one of these money trees on as little as $1 a day. Could you afford that? If you follow the advice in this chapter, you'll soon have your own majestic money tree growing right in the center of your future dream home. Imagine that. Branches of your money tree are growing along the ceiling and spreading into every room of your house. Every few feet along each branch are ripening money fruits that pop open once or twice a day, releasing crisp $100 bills. As the $100 bills fall from the tree, they float into the money baskets throughout the house. All night long you hear the pop, pop, pop of the ripening money fruits. You might think that sound would keep you awake at night, but it's a very soothing sound. Trust me, I know. The money tree produces fruit 24 hours a day. While you sleep, while you work, while you play, while you eat. It never stops. An endless stream of cash flow. Whenever you need some money, you just take whatever you want from one of the baskets. Get the picture? If you destroy an acorn, the potential oak tree inside also dies. Every time you waste one of those silly pieces of paper money, it's just like destroying a potential money tree. And that's why it's so important to preserve and protect each of these money seeds. So how much is one of those seeds really worth? Well, that depends on how long you let it grow and at what rate of growth. Let's suppose you take a single dollar and put it into a special bank account that will let the dollar grow, untouched by taxes and fees. How long will it take for this single dollar bill to grow into $1 million? That depends on the interest rate that the bank account pays. If it's like ordinary bank accounts, then it's going to take a long, long time. For example, if your bank account pays 3% interest, then it's going to take 468 years for that single dollar bill to multiply into $1 million. If the bank account pays 10% interest, it's going to take 145 years. And if it pays 20% interest, then it's going to take 75 years for that single dollar bill to grow into $1 million. So as you can see, it depends upon the interest rate, how fast that money is going to grow. Now, what if you're not planning on living for 468 years? Well, relax. We're not done with that dollar bill yet. We've got to supercharge it. And how can we do this? Well, rather than just planting one money seed, could you plant them more often? Could you afford to put away $1 a day? $30 a month? Could you do that? Well, if you could invest $1 a day, you could dramatically shorten the time frame. For instance, if your bank account paid 3% interest, then $1 a day will grow into $1 million in about 147 years. At 5% interest, it'll take about 100 years to grow into $1 million. At 10% interest, though, it only takes 56 years. Now that's about the span of a normal lifetime. $1 a day grows into $1 million in only 56 years at 10% interest. At 20% interest, it only takes 32 years to become a millionaire. Can you see that if you just do a few things to that dollar, it can now create some financial freedom for you in your lifetime? Here's another way to look at it. Suppose you invested $1 a day starting on the day you were born. Now, if you let that money sit there for 66 years, at $1 a day, here's what could happen to it. First of all, let's pretend that you don't put your money in a bank account, but that you just put that $1 a day underneath your mattress, and in 66 years, you count it up to see how much money you have. At 0% interest, $1 a day grows into $24,000. Not much, but better than nothing. At 3% interest, that same $1 a day, by retirement age, grows into $77,000. At 5% interest, that same $1 a day grows into $193,000. Now, anybody could do that because you could buy a government bond that would give you 5%. At 10% interest, that same $1 a day grows into $2.7 million. In other words, anyone starting at the day they're born and putting $1 a day away at 10% interest can be a multimillionaire by retirement age. A multimillionaire. At 15% interest, that same $1 a day grows into, get this, $50 million. That's right. And at 20% interest, that same simple single dollar bill a day grows into $1 billion. You can become a billionaire in your lifetime. Of course, it takes you 66 years, and that's a long time. But with all this discussion of Social Security and people not having enough money by the time they retire, if every child in America just put away $1 a day and learned how to invest it at the right rates of return, they all could be multimillionaires. That's what I'm trying to teach you. There's a whole forest of money trees awaiting for you. You're a Ross Perot in embryo. And what makes this happen? The power of compound interest makes a few dollars a day grow into enormous sums of money. Remember what Einstein said, the most powerful invention of man is compound interest. But suppose you don't want to wait for 66 years. Okay, there's another way to speed up the process. Could you plant 2 or 3 seeds a day? Or 5 or 10? What does that do? Well, let's cut right to the chase. If you put away 10 lousy bucks a day and put it in the right mutual funds or stocks or real estate and let the clock tick at 20%, you're a millionaire in just 20 years. Does that get you excited yet? Well, now I can hear the skeptics saying, well, no one can sustain a 20% rate of growth for 20 consecutive years. It's not possible. Well, Warren Buffett, the stock market genius, was able to do it for over 40 consecutive years. When you finish listening to this chapter, you'll know that it's not only possible for you, but entirely within the reach of anyone with discipline and a few financial skills. You don't have to be a financial genius. You don't have to own your own big company. You can do it from your own kitchen table using the money that you're now foolishly throwing away. If you just divert a few of your ill-spent dollars and funnel them into some well-timed investments, you can achieve financial success. I'll bet you'll think twice before you throw away one of those silly green pieces of paper. It's like throwing away the seed to $1 million money tree. Every time you save one of those money seeds, you start sowing your way to wealth. The most important lesson of this chapter is to change your attitude about money, especially those dollar bills. I have no doubt that you can save $30 a month, even on the most meager budget. Over time, you'll want to increase this to $100, $200, or $300 a month or more. The more, the better. The more, the faster. How many seeds do you think you could save and invest every single day? I recently was speaking at a conference in Orange County, and a gentleman came up to me, a rather humble gentleman, and he explained to me that he was a janitor for the school system there. He'd started when he was young, like 16, and as the janitor at that particular time, having left high school, he started to take a little portion of his salary and put it into mutual funds. But he was smart enough to do exactly as I've been describing here. And he started with, $50 and then $100. And he explained that today he puts away $1,400 a month of his salary as a janitor into his mutual funds every single month. Well, what does this do for you? Well, as he explained to me with great pride on his face, showing me his bank statements, he now had accumulated $632,000 in cash. And how had he done it? Not by being a business mogul, but by simply and easily putting away a small portion of his salary every single month so that he could become financially independent. It had taken him, yes, over 30 years to do it, but he had done it. And you can do that too. I believe anyone who's listening to this program right now has within your power the seeds of financial freedom. It takes time and discipline, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. The real key is to keep socking away the money. Let the numbers whisper their silent but relentless message. Consistency. Day in, day out. Save, invest, save, invest. It might be boring. It might be dull. It might be even hard to be disciplined enough to do it. But no matter, just do it. I also met a young man in Chicago who had made the decision to make his future bright by dimming his desires today. He worked full-time, as did his spouse, and if they'd been like the normal broke young married couple, they would have pooled their 2 paychecks together and bought a new car with a fat monthly payment, stretched themselves into too much house, and stressed out for the next 30 years. Instead, this young couple made a very smart choice. They lived on her paycheck and saved his entire monthly $2,000 paycheck. They put the money into well-selected mutual funds and watched the cash begin to pile up. This is true prosperity. Our parents were right. We cringed when they told us, live on less than you earn, invest the surplus, avoid debt, build long-term security. I remember when my dad told me that, and I thought he was nuts. Well, he wasn't nuts. This may not be the exciting get-rich-quick rabbit that you were looking for, but the tortoise laughs slowly all the way to the bank. So with that tortoise mentality firmly in place, let's start building some specific plans for the future. First of all, you have 5 decisions to make about your money seeds. Target. How much total money would you like to accumulate? Amount. How many dollars a day can you squeeze out of your life? Rate. What interest rate can you earn on your invested dollars? Time. When would you like to reach your goal? And purpose. What is your financial purpose? For example, suppose you decide you want $1 million nest egg in 20 years. Your ultimate purpose is to quit your job and to spend your life working with the youth in your church. One of the ways you could achieve that would be to invest $10 a day at 20% interest, and that would take you to your goal. I want you to take some time to think about this process. How long do you want to take before you retire? How much can you squeeze out of your life? Where can you invest that at a rate that could grow rapidly to give you financial freedom? Take some time to think about it. Make sure you spend some quality time asking yourself this question: why do I really want this money? What is my ultimate purpose? Your money making will be much more successful and meaningful if you have a clear purpose. If it's just to make a lot of money, you may find yourself one day with a lot of money wondering, is this all there is? Now, the sooner you start, the richer you are immediately. Hey, wait a minute. This sounds too good to be true. A few dollars a day and you can become a millionaire? If this is so easy, why aren't all of us millionaires? Well, the truth is we could all be millionaires, but most of us lack the simple discipline to make small daily deposits over long periods of time. And then, of course, we procrastinate getting started. Now, let me show you the terrible cost of procrastination. Suppose you had the discipline to sock away $200 a month, about $7 a day, over a 20-year period of time, with the target interest rate of 20%. How much could you accumulate? Well, according to my calculator, $200 a month at 20% for 20 years grows into $632,000. Not bad. Now, suppose instead of starting this year, you wait a year to get started. This leaves you only 19 years of growth instead of 20. Now, according to my calculator again, you'd only have $516,000 in your bank account in 20 years. That's $116,000 less than you could have had if you had started on schedule. In other words, your procrastination cost you $116,000 in future dollars. Procrastination is expensive. For each of the 365 days that you waited, your future portfolio was shrinking by over $300. Now, the way you calculate that is to take $116,000 worth of future dollars that you lost divided by 365 days in a year, and that means that you're losing $317 a day. In other words, every day you procrastinate costs you $300 in future money. Well, that's $13 an hour, 24 hours a day, every day of that year. In other words, procrastination is expensive. What if you were to invest the same $200 a month over 30 years? The cost of waiting that extra year to get started is now a whopping $842,000. Waiting an extra year costs you almost $1 million in future dollars. That's over $2,000 a day, almost $100 an hour, 24 hours a day for every hour of that year. You see, every day you wait, every hour you delay is like burning up future money. And if you want a lot of money waiting for you when you arrive in the future, you have to start now. One final word: consistency. How much you invest is not as important as consistently investing that amount over a long period of time. If you miss a payment or two, no big deal, but let me show you what happens when you mess with the formula. Suppose you could invest $200 a month for 20 years with the target rate return of 20%. You're pretty good at socking away the money for a few months, and then you read an ad in the paper for a great deal on a new car. In order to be able to afford the new car, you decide to lower your savings rate from $200 a month to $100 a month. Now, in 20 years, instead of having $632,000 sitting in the bank, you'll only have $316,000 and a very old car. That's $316,000 less. Is your new car worth that much? If you invest wisely today, you'll be able to pay cash for any car you want 20 years from now. Deferring gratification for a while will allow your money tree to grow. When you prematurely pick the fruit from your money tree, you stunt its growth and dramatically reduce the time it takes for you to enjoy a fully matured, fruit-bearing money tree. Let's examine the money trees of some of the last century's most famous billionaires. You'll have to admit they knew how to grow money trees. What did they do with their wealth? Well, almost every one of them set up a foundation that would outlive them. These foundations are like money tree forests that continue to thrive long after the money tree farmers are gone. In the World Book Encyclopedia under Foundations, you'll discover that there are over 24,000 charitable foundations set up in the United States alone, each year dispensing charitable grants to needy groups and organizations of almost $5 billion. The top 10 foundations are as follows, and you'll recognize some of these names. The Ford Foundation with over $5 billion in assets. The Getty Trust with $3.7 billion in assets. The Kellogg Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation, the Lilly Foundation, Johnson, Rockefeller, Pew, Mellon, Kresge. Heard any of these names before? Well, let's just take the Ford Foundation, for instance. It has assets of $4.8 billion, according to the World Book Encyclopedia. It annually gives away $170 million to charitable causes. This was established in 1936, yet decades later is still giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to needy causes. No matter what your attitude toward the wealth of the Fords, the Rockefellers, or the Gettys, you've got to admit that hundreds of thousands of people, even you, are benefiting each day from the legacy of these great money masters. The fruits from their money trees continue to bless the world. Now, if you learn the secrets of these successful money masters, eventually you too will be able to leave a legacy that will outlive you. Although leaving a $100 million fortune may be the furthest thing from your mind today, frankly, you'd probably rather have just another $10,000 this year. I encourage you nonetheless to imagine what your future foundation might look like. Answer the following question. Once you've achieved your financial goals and lived a long, prosperous, happy, and healthy life, how do you want your money invested so that it can have the greatest positive impact on future generations? Think about that, because this vision of the future is going to drive your success today. In the purest sense, money is a spiritual concept. It contains the power to do so much good. Imagine the benefit that you could provide to future groups of worthy people. Imagine your own posterity, your own great-great-grandchildren a century from now. How could they benefit from your wise, financial, spiritual, and intellectual legacy? If you won't do it for yourself, at least do it for them. 2 days ago, I spent the entire day with Mark Victor Hansen, the author and co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. We invited into a meeting Pat Boone, obviously a singer that you've probably heard of before. And while we were in that room listening to them talk about their life, one of the most important things that they were the proudest of was the fact that they had both given millions of dollars to charities. In fact, every Chicken Soup for the Soul book is actually dedicated to a specific charity and tithed to that charity. That means 10% of the gross royalties that come off the top of each book sale go right to that particular charity. As a result, Mark himself has given away millions of dollars to charities all across North America, and he's extremely proud of that. Pat Boone himself stood there and told us that as a result of his efforts with the March of Dimes and other charities he's been involved in, he has been able to be part of the giving of over $1 billion to charitable causes in his lifetime. Although you might have heard some of his songs in the past, one of the most important things that you probably were not aware of is the fact that he is most proud of the fact that he has been able to give back. And I'm going to suggest that you do the same. When you find great givers throughout the world, you'll find that they're also very successful people. I'm wondering if perhaps the reason that they are successful is because they know how to give so much. Now let's look at that dollar bill one more time. This simple money seed contains the power to bless you and countless future generations. But only if you'll start now. The future is counting on you. A wealthy future is awaiting you. It's worth the sacrifice. Remember, it all starts with a single unit of money. I wish I had the power to reach more people with the message that you've just listened to. Why don't they teach these things in school? Now, if you have the right respect for each of those priceless money seeds, I'm going to show you now how to specifically turn each of these dollar bills into $1 million money trees. Join me in the next chapter, and let's get started.